We are just one day away now from deciding who will replace disgraced felon Carlos Uresti as the next state senator for District 19.
The matchup comes down to two candidates, Pete Flores and Pete Gallego, who go head-to-head in a special election runoff tomorrow. Eyewitness News reporter Jeremy Baker spoke with both candidates this afternoon.
Yeah, this is a big district that both candidates are looking to represent. District 19 is located, at least much of it, along the Texas-Mexico border, and both candidates agree that each ballot cast could shape the state's approach to immigration reform.
Two candidates, two different paths leading up to tomorrow's special election. Flores, a Republican and former state game warden, and Gallego, a Democrat and former state house representative and congressman. Both say property tax reform is a big deal.
Everywhere we're going, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, big city, small towns, we're being hammered. And while we want to pay our fair share, the system is broke.
Some years ago, we were funding 48% of the cost of public education at the state level. Now they're down to 38%, which means that the locals have to pick up their share, right? Which is why you see a lot of property tax increases in Bexar County and across the state.
There are 31 seats in the Texas Senate, 20 Republican held and 10 by Democrats. That leaves one seat open that belonged to Uresti. Gallego hopes to keep it blue, but Flores is doing his best to try and flip it to red to increase the number of Republican state senators to 21. Gallego says keeping that seat blue is what makes sense.
The state Senate is majority Republican right now, and so the Democrats, I think, the Democratic seats should be Democratic.
But Flores says flipping it red is exactly what the state needs.
Being a conservative is pretty much reflective of most of the folks in Southwest Texas. A very conservative population.
Both agree getting the message out about getting the vote out is one of the big hurdles.
This will determine who will be your state senator for the next 2 years.
You have a lot of opportunities to make a difference for people.
Polls open at 7 a.m. tomorrow and close at 7 p.m., so make sure you get out to vote and let your voice be heard. Live in the studio, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.